China is known as a country with a long history. China is a land that brings together many elements of the ancient East, from culture to people. In that history, the Chinese have left behind many great architectural constructions, such as the Great Wall of China, the Beijing Pagoda, the Great Tower, and we can't help but mention the Forbidden City. This is one of the most magnificent Russian palaces in the world, and it is also the pride of the Chinese people. However, not only is there the pride of the outside world, the Forbidden City also has secrets that few people know about. Welcome to City Media Exploration. Today's video will take you to the Forbidden City to uncover the secrets of one of the greatest Chinese constructions. The Forbidden City, also known as the Forbidden City, is a magnificent architectural structure located in the center of Beijing, China. This palace complex was built in 1406. After the current emperor of China, Ming Dynasty, left the capital from Nanjing to Beijing, he ordered the construction of a city for the princes. In total, there were 24 Chinese emperors who died on the Golden Day in the Forbidden City, from the middle of the Ming Dynasty to the end of the Qing Dynasty. The Forbidden City has an area of about 720,000 square meters, with more than 800 large and small palaces with different functions. Some palaces were the emperor's workplace, some palaces were the residence of the concubines in the harem. After 14 years, that is, until 1420, this construction was completed. In 1421, Ming Dynasty officially used this palace complex and turned Beijing into China's new capital. The name of this construction is the Forbidden City because it has always been closed to the public for more than 500 years. In Chinese, it is called Xi Jinping, which means the Purple Forbidden City. According to the Forbidden City, ordinary people are not allowed into this palace complex without the special permission of the emperor. This complex aims to prove that this is a unique place for the emperor to live. It also shows the power and status of the emperors of the time. As many of you may know, the Forbidden City that we still see today in Beijing is not the only version. In addition to the Forbidden City in Beijing, there is actually another Forbidden City in Nanjing. According to a Chinese book, after the Ming Dynasty took over the Forbidden City, he built a palace complex in Nanjing to be the capital of the country. After the Ming Dynasty passed away, he appointed his nephew, Zhu Xuanwen, as the successor, that is, Ming Hutong, with the title of Jianwen. However, the emperor, the son of power, and the most powerful force of the Ming Dynasty, did not recognize the emperor. Immediately after that, Zhu Xuanwen and Ming Hutong entered a political battle. Before many allies in the palace were captured by Ming Hutong, Zhu Xuanwen began to plot to overthrow Ming Hutong, leading to a 3-year civil war. In order to save the young Ming Hutong from the flood, Zhu Xuanwen, the military leader, led the campaign. After winning the battle against Ming Hutong, Zhu Xuanwen ascended the throne, that is, Ming became the emperor, with the title of Winglao. Immediately after that, Emperor Winglao decided to move from Nanjing to Beijing, so he had to build a new palace for the emperor. The design of the Forbidden City in Beijing is said to be based on the palace in Nanjing. Therefore, the Forbidden City in Beijing is almost like a star of the palace in Nanjing. The Forbidden City is considered by the Chinese to be one of the largest projects in the Chinese territory. And with its important role, it focuses on every detail, from the design to the preparation of building materials. For a long time, the Forbidden City was still a mystery about how the Chinese managed to build this giant city. According to analysts from archaeologists, the Forbidden City was built from solid rocks weighing between 200 and 300 tons. These giant rocks were transported to Beijing about 70 kilometers away. To transport such a rock, about 50 healthy men were needed, and they had to work non-stop for a month to transport it to Beijing. Recent research from archaeologists suggests that these rocks could have been transported on the eastern roads. These roads were built by flooding the roads in the long and cold winter with a layer of water. In addition to the rocks, to build the Forbidden City, a large amount of wood had to be mined. All the wood was mined from the ginseng forest in the high mountains of southern China. After mining, the wood was stored under the mountains. Every year, the country would take a large amount of wood out of the mountains. Then the workers would use boats to transport the wood from the south to Beijing. Millions of workers worked tirelessly for 14 years to build the Forbidden City to demonstrate this power. There are many opinions that the Ming Dynasty used slaves to build the Forbidden City. However, the truth is that the Ming Dynasty had a better trade system than the previous dynasties. Therefore, Almost all farmers had to work for the emperor. That is why millions of workers could be mobilized to build large projects such as the Forbidden City. Although the Forbidden City was more than 600 years old, it has been through more than 200 large and small landslides and many historical changes. The Forbidden City was not affected. The project is still thriving in the heart of Beijing. Researchers have analyzed the architecture of the Forbidden City and then built a model to simulate a landslide up to 10.1 degrees Celsius to test the durability of the project. Although the landslide was very large, the unevenness of the model caused the bricks of the Forbidden City to collapse. However, the framework of the project is still very solid. After many tests, researchers have found the answer to this problem. It's all in the bottom of the pillars. The pillars are usually located at the bottom of the roof. This design does not use any nails or glue. The wooden walls are placed in the right frame and stacked together to create a very solid structure. This design was used by the Chinese more than 500 years ago. The design of the pillars will help reduce the impact of landslides on the building and increase the durability based on bedding technology. In addition, this design also plays a decorative role for the palaces in the Forbidden City because this basic design is already an art. In addition to the artistic design, the durability is good. The Forbidden City is also surprising due to the design of the drainage system, which helps this project not to be lost for more than 600 years. This building is designed to drain water to each brick. The yard of the Forbidden City is laid by arranging green bricks to make the yard surface easier to absorb rainwater than the surface of the yard. Below the green brick layer is a very thick layer of soil that can absorb a large amount of water. This design is like putting a giant piece of sand under the ground. In addition, the architecture of the Forbidden City also takes advantage of the already existing natural landscape in the north, in the south, behind the mountain and in front of the river. This terrain helps the construction avoid flooding. Moreover, in all the gardens of the palaces, there are rainwater pipes that are pierced with stone. When it rains, thousands of these pipes will flood the small channels and flood the Kim Tui River. Because of this, the small channels that are pierced in the Forbidden City are always cleaned to ensure that the water flows in the best way. The Forbidden City is an important historical symbol and a long-standing pride of the Chinese people. Every year, the Russian consulate attracts millions of tourists from all over the world thanks to its beauty and interesting stories. Many people only see the Forbidden City from the old Chinese TV series. This makes them want to explore and experience the Russian Forbidden City directly. When tourists come to the Forbidden City, they will easily notice that this building is divided into two main areas, namely the front yard and the rear yard. These two areas are connected by a long yard. The front yard in the south is a place for ceremonies. The rear yard in the north is a place for the king and queen to live together. The center of the rear yard includes 3 large palaces. Kan Ton Kung is a place for the king to live. Dao Tai Dien is a place to keep 25 important treasures of the city. And Ko Nin Kung is the queen's residence. However, the queen's residence is usually designated by the emperor, not necessarily Ko Nin Kung. Today, the Forbidden City is the most important place to keep Chinese art treasures, including many antiques and paintings. In 1987, UNESCO recognized the Forbidden City as a World Heritage Site. In addition to the beautiful exterior of the Russian Forbidden City, the Forbidden City also contains many mysteries inside. These are not only the mysteries about feng shui or the origins of the Forbidden City, but also the stories about the mysterious nature surrounding this great construction. First, let's unravel the mysteries about the feng shui of the Forbidden City. Feng shui is one of the important factors that determines the location of the Forbidden City. This is a traditional Chinese theory in finding a harmonious location with nature. The Forbidden City was located in the center of Beijing in the old days, with the location of the capital with the Van Nian Mountain behind and the Kim Tui River flowing in front. This construction has a main arch in the north-south direction, running from the beginning to the end, dividing the entire palace into 2 parts. The east side represents the sun, the west side represents the cloud. All these main arches are facing the south. On the left is the sun, facing the thin sky, on the right is the cloud, facing the cold sky. Another important factor in the feng shui of the Forbidden City is its symmetrical nature. The most important palaces are located on the north-south axis, in the center, and other palaces are arranged on both sides. In addition, The architecture of the Forbidden City also contains the map of the stars as well as the sound effects related to movement. These feng shui factors are represented through each small detail, from the location of the back gate, the name of the gate, the direction of the gate to the water channels. All these factors make the Forbidden City one of the most impressive feng shui buildings of all time built by the Chinese. Another important factor in the design of the Forbidden City is its color. The two main colors of the Forbidden City are yellow and red. For the color yellow, it represents the highest power and is dedicated to the emperor as well as the emperor himself. Even the pillars in the Forbidden City are painted yellow to show the power of this building. Meanwhile, red is thought to symbolize the ability to produce and cultivate. In Chinese, there will always be children and good luck. Therefore, all the buildings and walls are painted red. However, red also symbolizes fire in Chinese, which means fire. Therefore, some buildings with the characteristics of the library will not use red to paint the wall and the roof, because it will burn the gold that is kept in the library. Instead, the roof of the library is painted black, which symbolizes the water source in the well. The next secret related to feng shui in the Forbidden City is related to the two numbers 9 and 5. All the buildings that the emperor used to live and work have a length of 9 rooms and a width of 5 rooms. In a square of 9 dragons, there are 4 dragons opposite each other. This is also an idea to show the two numbers 9 and 5. In addition, the design of the Forbidden City has a total of 9,999 rooms, not 10,000 rooms as some say. On the roof of the palaces are also painted 9 images of 9 mythical creatures believed to protect the emperor. The palaces on the gate are also built from 9 pieces. According to the Chinese, the number 9 represents the ultimate masculinity and it is regarded as the representative number for the emperor. Therefore, this number also shows in the design of the Forbidden City to receive the emperor. A person must wear 9 rings. In addition to the explanation above, some documents also say that the ancient Chinese believed that China had 9 big mountains and 5 big rivers. The number 9 is the most important number and 5 is the number standing in the middle of the decimal 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. This is also a perfect number for the emperor's power management. People often call the palaces of the Forbidden City as the Royal Palace. This title is also related to the two numbers 9 and 5. Accordingly, in Chinese, Khan represents the sky and Kon represents the ground. The Khan number standing at the top of 64 Khan is the ultimate masculinity. In Khan, there is also Hao Kun Gu, which means the 5th Hao is the best. Therefore, people only use the word Kun Gu to indicate the good of each emperor. In addition, the Hao in Kun Gu of Khan is referred to as Fai Long Tai Tien, which means the dragon flying to the sky. Therefore, Kun Gu Kai Tun is used by many emperors to show off their power and power. Since it was built and completed, the Forbidden City has been the place where many great kings of China lived. In addition to the stories of the past, the secret of this place has always attracted the curiosity of many people. Among the countless White Russian palaces of the Forbidden City for visitors to visit, there is one place that no one is allowed to visit. It is the Forbidden City. If you have watched the ancient Chinese movies revolving around the theme of martial arts, you will not be surprised at this place. According to historical documents, the Forbidden City is a cold and desolate place where many people died here. Even the women and children dared not come here as it has not been cleaned up and there are not many people here. The prisoners were pushed into the Forbidden City. If they did not die of illness, they would choose to commit suicide because they could not stand the sight of torture. Therefore, life in the Forbidden City is no different from prison. According to documents, the Forbidden City is the place where the emperors punished the prisoners who made unbearable mistakes but could not forgive them. In addition to the prisoners who committed many crimes, this place is also the place where the prisoners who committed many crimes were imprisoned by the emperor and were no longer forgiven. After going through many different environments, not only the prisoners who committed crimes had to live in this dark place, but also the emperors who were not forgiven had to suffer humiliation until the end of their lives in the Forbidden City. The desolation and darkness of the Forbidden City made all the prisoners feel terrified. Once they were pushed into the Forbidden City, these prisoners were isolated and could not see the outside world again. The entire Forbidden City only had one way in to bring food and drink every day. Of course, this food and drink only had a temporary nature. It could be the food that the other prisons still had. Because they had to live in a dark place, they did not have enough food and clothes. Over time, people trapped in the Forbidden City could develop depression and even go crazy. Some people saw the Forbidden City as a dark place and did not want to go there. So, where was the Forbidden City in the endless palaces of the Forbidden City? This question was asked by the last emperor of Chinese history, Fu Yi, who answered in a letter in the last years of his life, half of my previous life. In the letter, he said that in the Forbidden City, there was no fixed area called the Forbidden City. This special area could be any room in the palaces. As long as it was a place to keep the imperial concubines, it was called the Forbidden City. According to the letter, the Forbidden City in the Eastern Palace was the first place to become the Forbidden City. At that time, Ming's mother, the 15th Emperor of Ming, was imprisoned here. The Forbidden City was the second place to become the Forbidden City. Li Tongfei, one of the emperors of the 16th Emperor of Ming, was sentenced to death by the death penalty of Noi Trung Hien. During the reign of the emperor, the empress was ordered to be put in the Forbidden City because she had a fever. However, there are many opinions that the empress was not sick and was kept in the Forbidden City. The empress was not allowed to meet anyone in the Forbidden City, so the Forbidden City became the Forbidden City. Similarly, Empress Dowager Jamlong was crowned. This meant that the 11th emperor was also put in the Forbidden City. Now, the Forbidden City is open to visitors from all over the world. However, although it is open, some areas in the Forbidden City are still called forbidden areas and are not allowed to visit, including the palaces. There are two main reasons for this. First, most palaces have been damaged, causing too many dangers for visitors. The cost of repairing palaces is quite high, but the amount of money collected is not worth it, so these places are often not repaired. Second, palaces are places to keep the painful memories of the deceased. It is a place of mourning, so many people think that this is an unfortunate place and it is not worth visiting. Putting aside the painful memories of the same place, we come to a very secret garden. In the Forbidden City, there is a place that no visitor knows about. It is a secret garden behind the walls and the closed doors. This garden is also called the Canlong Garden or the Treasure Garden. These gates are said to have not been opened since the last emperor of the Great Wall of China died. Until 2020, for the first time in history, the Canlong Garden in the Forbidden City was open for visitors to visit after a period of repair. The Canlong Garden was built in the 1770s. It was designed as a small version of the Forbidden City. This garden has 27 lanes designed in a very unique way. This is a place of nourishment for Canlong, the most prosperous emperor of the Great Wall of China. This emperor issued a decree that everything in this garden would not change after his death. Therefore, most of the garden, from the architecture to the interior, is still intact to this day. The interior is made of bamboo, lime, decorated with jade and crystal, as well as many other precious treasures dating back to the 18th century. They are all preserved in the Canlong Garden in its original state. Until 1924, when the last emperor of the Great Wall of China, Fu Yi, left the Forbidden City, the Canlong Garden was officially abandoned. Although the appearance has not changed, this garden has been abandoned for quite a long time. Therefore, the restoration of this small Forbidden City took quite a long time. Specifically, from 2008 to 2020. It took a long time to restore the Canlong Garden in order to ensure accuracy and safety before the Canlong Garden was open to the Chinese people and tourists from all over the world. Tourists can only visit the outside of the garden, while the interior decorations can only be seen through the large windows. From the Forbidden City, the Canlong Garden has always been a background in many Chinese martial arts films, especially the fighting films between the late emperor. Therefore, you are not far away from the power struggle, the destructive stories, and the deaths inside the Forbidden City. For this reason, the strange and mysterious stories are spread inside the Forbidden City. Even the opening and closing of the Forbidden City for tourists to visit is associated with a mysterious rumor. Specifically, in the summer months, the opening time of the Forbidden City will be from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. In the winter months, the closing time will be 3:30 p.m. To explain this, the people around the Forbidden City say that no matter what the weather is, at 5 p.m. every day, the air in the Forbidden City is very cold and foggy. Therefore, the Forbidden City will never open late or overnight. Many people in Beijing believe that the Forbidden City has ghosts, especially when they often hear the sounds of crying at night. Now let's move on to the strange stories inside this area. One of the most famous ghost stories in the Forbidden City tells about a woman who was very angry and left the Forbidden City with a loud cry. This story is told by a soldier named Fafor. He used to be a guard in the Forbidden City in 1995. Fafor recalled that one night in October, when he was watching TV in his room, at 9 p.m., his two friends had just returned to their rooms with a very scary face. According to what his colleague told him, they met a woman with long hair and a white suit. The two soldiers called the woman, but she ran away immediately. They realized that this girl was not from the Forbidden City. They chased her away because they thought she might be a thief. Finally, when the man led her into a corner and asked her to turn around, a terrible thing happened. When she turned around, the two soldiers were so scared that they dropped their flashlights because the woman was not there but only had a hairdryer. After hearing the story from his two friends, Fafor took his gun and went back to check if what they said was true or not. However, when he got there was nothing there. Only the flashlight that his friend dropped was still on the floor. Although many people doubted this story, they could not deny that it really made the listener feel relieved. Another story about the supernatural forces inside the Forbidden City was retold by a visitor. This visitor said he had visited an exhibition about the decoration and headgear of the women in the Forbidden City. When he got home, he had a nightmare. In his dream, he heard a strange voice and a deep voice. Those decorations were his. This made the visitor really scared, and he also thought there were some supernatural forces somewhere in the Forbidden City. In addition to the above two stories, there was also a mysterious well inside the Forbidden City. According to many rumors, this well was said to be a place where the women committed suicide. If anyone looked down into the well, something terrible would happen. The person who looked into the well would not see his shadow, but would see the shadow of the woman. However, no one knows which well is exactly in the 720,000 square meters of the Forbidden City. In addition, in the Forbidden City, there is another story that I think is not bad. According to the story of Mr. Kui Jiangjin, an expert in Manchurian folk culture, one of the scary stories inside the Forbidden City is that people often hear music playing at night. I don't know where the music comes from, but it always creates strange and mysterious sounds more terrifyingly. The gatekeepers inside the Forbidden City also see a group of nobles and nobles walking around the yard, then disappear into a dark corner. Although the gatekeepers have tried to find this mysterious group, they seem to come and go like a wind, leaving no trace. This forces the gatekeepers to think that they are the souls of the women who used to work and live inside the Forbidden City. In addition to the stories about the souls mentioned above, when tourists come to Taihua, they will hear another strange story. In July 1905, while a group of nobles were walking around the Forbidden City, they found that the east gate of Taihua had fallen. Feeling something unusual, the nobles stopped to examine the situation. They heard that there was a voice in Taihua and immediately reported it. After that, the gatekeepers led a team of nobles to surround Taihua. When they opened the gate, they saw a strange scene that made everyone stand still in shock. They saw a man dancing in the yard. After catching and inspecting, the nobles found 2 knives, a pouch containing 2 bags and many other items. After investigating, a crazy dancer in Taihua named Jia Banhai, 29 years old, came from Daiheng County, near Beijing. After further investigation, the officers found that this man had many abnormal behaviors. After reporting to the Empress Dowager and the Emperor, the Ministry of Justice instructed to continue the investigation. However, during the investigation, Jia Banhai was always stupid, meaningless, with signs of mental illness and depression. After a month of investigation without any objective results, Jia Banhai was finally hanged. Although this is not a spiritual story, however, the image of Jia Banhai dancing in Taihua like a crazy ghost makes the audience feel confused. Until now, there has not been any scientific investigation from the Forbidden City to study the rumors about the ghost. The main reason for not investigating is that the people have too much faith in the existence of these supernatural phenomena inside the Forbidden City. On the other hand, the Chinese government also wants to protect and preserve this mysterious architecture. Therefore, the mystery of strange and mysterious stories occurs when the cover around the Forbidden City is still a mystery without an answer. Although there are many rumors about the ghosts lurking inside, however, the Forbidden City has always been a pride for the Chinese people. More than 600 years ago, This architecture was still preserved in Beijing. Break time equals English, United Kingdom, /air break time equals English, United Kingdom, /.